What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith. And man, we got a very special, multiple special guests, multiple topics we're going to take and talk about. We got ESPN trivia we're about to cover next, and then we have every last five of us on this show. We're going to cover our top 5 biggest NFL scandals in NFL history. Obviously, this is very opinionated, but it's going to be a fun episode. If you like drama, you like football drama, this is for you. But before we even kick this thing off, I want to introduce very, very special guests coming out of the 403 Washington podcast. We got Chris and Z in the house, man. How you guys doing today?
Doing well, my man. Thank you for having us today.
Doug, yes, thanks for having us. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Dude, this is a blast. I'm so happy to have you guys on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, before we kick this off, go down below in the description of this video, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever it may be, go down below and you'll see a link to their Spotify page. Give these guys a follow. They're a lot of fun, very casual. It's kind of like the vibe is definitely like you're kicking it with your boys and talking sports, man. And they cover it all, man. So
I'd say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Well, Chris, man, I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it away. And this episode will be on their channel as well, too. So please, look, I don't lead you guys wrong. I almost never give out bad advice in fantasy football, but man, take my advice and follow these gentlemen here. It's gonna be a lot of fun tonight. Chris, I'll go let you take it away, man. Let's kick it off.
Okay. Trivia. Thank you, Doug. So what we're going to do here is we got 15 trivia questions. All right. Now, like I said, we got 15 questions, and we get. Of those 15, it gets progressively harder. The quicker you answer the question, the more points you get towards that. So this is all hosted on Kahoot. We'll get started here in just a second. Now, there are 4 quote-unquote gimme questions. I know each of y'all favorite sports teams. So I kind of threw one Dolphins question in there, one Raiders question, one Steelers, one Eagles question. So I expect y'all to get that one right off the rip. So let me share my screen, and then we'll get started. You guys can follow along, Eric, Doug, MGZ, Z. You guys can follow along in your browser or your phone.
Yes, sir.
Chris, I do have a question. You said they get progressively harder. Can you spell progressively? Do you know how to spell that?
R-O progressively.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
All right. Now we got that clarified. I'm going to share my screen.
Let's get it.
All right. So, all right. So let's kick it off. So first question, opening now.
Coming in the show. Boom. Part 2. I love it.
All right.
Here we go.
First
ESPN
question.
trivia.
Which player caught Tom Brady's first NFL TD pass? Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, Troy Brown, Terry Glenn. And you do have 10 seconds to answer each one of these correctly.
I don't know if I did the right.
Yeah, I'm just randomly clicking one because it don't matter. I already done seeing the answers. So,
Got it.
All right, we're going to go to the next question. Question number 2. Which Denver Broncos kicker hit a record-setting 64-yard field goal against the Tennessee Titans in 2013? Jason Elam, Ron Baronis, Brandon McManus, Matt Prater.
Oh, dang. Dang. I got that one wrong.
I quit. I'm done. I'm already done.
Wrap it up, B.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to go to the next question. Number 3.
Uh-huh.
Which team secured a victory in Super Bowl 44 on a 74-yard TD return after a Peyton Manning interception? Peyton looking stylish right there in the orange suit.
Dang. I get that one wrong.
MGZ, I threw the buzzards in there just for you, man. All right, next question.
Dang,
Who became the first NFL QB to throw for more than 5,000 yards in a single season? Dan Marino, Brett Favre, Joe Montana, John Elway.
Love it.
Okay. You guys ready for the next one?
Let's go.
Sure.
I don't know. We're going to see Z score. It's going up like one at a time. I don't think. All right. Next question.
Yes, sir.
Which San Francisco 49er made the catch to seal the 1981 NFC Championship win over the Dallas Cowboys? Jerry Rice, Dwight Clark, Freddie Solomon, Debo
This
Samuel.
is easy stuff.
Just because I like Debo Samuel, I'm choosing.
Debo Samuel.
He was there in 1981. Come on now.
He wasn't even born.
All right. Like I said, MGZ, they start easy. They're going to get harder. Next question. Which Oakland Raider caused a fumble off of Tom Brady in a 2002 playoff game that was later ruled an incomplete pass? Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson, Tony Bryant, Bill Romanowski. Bill Romanowski probably punched Tom Brady in the face, but that's a different story.
Romanowski don't need to go to jail. Crazy. Punching people's eyeballs out. Who do you think you are?
All right, let's go to the next one.
Leave Bill alone.
Who is the only Philly Eagle QB to have won a Super Bowl? We got Ron Jaworski, Randall Cunningham, Nick Foles, or Donovan McNabb. Should be a gimme for people. Should be a gimme.
I heard in New England they call him Nick Poles.
All right, we're going to go to the next one.
I've heard some other names he's been called.
Who was the first Jacksonville Jaguar running back to rush for more than 10,000 career yards? Leonard Fournette, Fred Taylor, Maurice Jones-Drew, I like to call him the law firm, or James Stewart.
I like this, man.
All right, we're halfway through. Next question.
Sir.
Which of these Hall of Famers was not drafted out of USC? Troy Polamalu, Junior Seau, Warren Sapp, or Ronnie Lott? All right, give you a little break real quick.
I love Ronnie Lott.
Actually, I thought
cut off his finger.
This one I didn't know. When I had this card and I typed it in, I didn't know this answer. So fair play. Next question. Which wide receiver set an NFL single postseason record of 546 yards, 30 receptions, 7 touchdowns in 2008, 2009? Larry Fitzgerald, Wes Welker, Santonio Holmes, or Andre Johnson?
Oh, I got that one wrong. Santonio Holmes was a beast, though. Shout out to him.
I mean, that toe drag touchdown was
Greatest catch in
legend.
Greatest catch in Super Bowl history.
I mean,
Yeah.
what the Steelers fan would say that, but moving on. Next question.
No.
Which is the oldest team in the NFL, originally formed as the Morgan Athletic Club in 1898? Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, Vikings, or the Cardinals?
Got it wrong. Dang.
I knew this one because I just read Dan Patrick's latest book and it was mentioned in there. That's why
Well,
y'all should read books.
well, we're reading trivia, Z. We're reading trivia instead. All right, next question. Only a few more left. Which player led the NFL in yards from scrimmage with 2 different teams in successive seasons from 98 and 99? Tiki Barber, Marcia Falk, Edgar N. James, or Ricky Waters?
What the? Dang, that was a tough one. I chose Ricky Waters. Dang.
Come on, man. Ricky Waters over Edgar N. James or Marcia Falk?
Marshall Falk would be my second. Dang, man. Oh, my gosh.
All right. We got, I think, 2 more left, so let's get through them. Next question. I mean, Z and Touchdown Doug are pretty close in points right there, though. Which cat-themed NFL team mascot is named Sir Purr? Cincinnati Bengals, Detroit Lions, Carolina Panthers, or Jacksonville Jaguars?
Got that one wrong. gosh.
All right, last question. And this is probably a little bit easier. Oh, no, there's one more. Sorry. How many teams were in the NFL in 1970, the first year after the AFL-NFL merger? There's Al Davis, because he was instrumental in setting up that merger. 26, 24, 22, or 30. All right, the last question. Let's get it.
Sir.
Z and Touchdown Doug did not get that one right.
Oh.
Which NFL QB threw his first career NFL completion to himself? Vinny Testaverde, Doug Flutie, Dante Culpepper, Brett Favre, Drew Brees, or Philip Rivers? I'm pretty sure Philip Rivers is too busy having kids, so.
Oof.
All right.
That was a tough one.
So that's all the questions. What we're going to do, we're going to compile up the scores. We'll announce the winner at the end. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. We'll go ahead and give it back over to Touchdown Doug.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, whether you're watching it live or whether you are watching this pre-recorded, go down below. Again, our special guest today is 403 Washington, the podcast. They cover all things sports. Give them a check out. The link is down below, and it'll take you right over to Spotify. So check them out. Lots of fun to watch and great people. So in the next segment, we're going to take and get into, if you saw in the thumbnail, you saw Aaron Hernandez. You saw Jerry Jones and his yellow face. I just feel like some. Let me stop there for a sec. Hold on. So we're going to talk about our top 5 scandals. Everybody's going to do a top 5 scandals, but sometimes white people, okay? I'm talking about my own people here too. They look a little yellow when they get old. Oh, besides the point. That's not the scandal that I have, but we're going to kick it off. Look, man, let's Eric Wren, man, my dog, my brother from another mother. Go ahead and kick us off, man, with your top 5. And this is all subjective, people, but comment below your top 5 biggest NFL scandals in NFL history. Oh, Eric, we can't hear you, brother. You're muted. Go give him just a sec.
My bad. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yep, we can hear you now. Appreciate you.
All right. We want to do one for each person, kind of go round robin instead of
we can do that. Yep, we'll kick it off with you.
Yes, my number 1 is going to be Ray Rice. Ray Rice in the elevator.
Oh,
that was one strong right jab, wasn't it, fellas?
Jab that ended a career. Yes, I remember them. Chris, what you got, man?
Well, touching on that Ray Rice, like the funny thing was that not the funny thing, that's the wrong adjective to use, forgive me, but he told everything to the NFL. He said exactly what happened to a T. And the NFL didn't really do much about it. I think they was going to suspend him a couple games or whatever. Then that video came out, and then all of a sudden it blew up. But going to my number 5. My number 5, I'm going with Bountygate. I think it's a bad look for the NFL. The Saints, Sean Payton, he got suspended for a year for this. But when you're paying players to injure people, that's a bad look. So that's my number 5.
Gotcha. Z, what you got, man?
I don't really have much. Like I said, Doug, I'm going to pass on this in interest of time. But touching on the Ray Rice one, I think the only good thing that can come out of something like that is that the Ray Rice scandal really put a spotlight on domestic abuse and how it really needed to be addressed in the NFL. Because, this is not the first time that something like that's happened. And unfortunately, a lot of athletes sometimes maybe get a pass because of their status. And I think Ray Rice has really, walked that line since being caught in that. And, hopefully it's changed his life. Shed a little bit of light on this.
There's a couple you can name in the NFL right now, like Joe Mixon, Kareem Hunt. There's one, Tyreek Hill.
Xavier Howard.
Yeah. There's several in the NFL right now. But
3 Dolphins. What's happening?
Everybody kind of forget about it because they're doing well.
Right.
Yeah. They get a pass. Mr. GZ, what you got? All right. Don't think he give you a second to respond.
So before I give my 5, I'll talk about the Ray Rice. I think it was it came off worse because he carried her out of the elevator. So that was pretty bad. But my number 5 is the Ray Caruth. Him murdering his girlfriend. But the thing is his daughter did live, but they found him in the trunk of a car in Nashville. So
yeah,
bad luck.
Crazy stuff. Yeah, that was actually on my list too, man. Ray Caruth. It was actually his son, but he grew up to have, like, I think it was cerebral palsy or something like that. But and now Ray Caruth's out of jail, which is crazy enough. Like, right. So it was nuts. That one right there is like, shoo. Yeah, you don't ever want to see that. But people live different lives outside the NFL. Most NFL players are phenomenal people. I know tons of players in the league, both retired and current. But man, it's seeing stuff like that definitely paints a black eye on the league for sure. All right, moving on to number 4. All right, Chris, we'll start this one off with you, man. What you got?
Okay. I'm gonna go with very recent. Dan Snyder losing the Washington Commanders, Redskins, Washington football team, whatever you want to call them. I don't know these days. But the sexual harassment and discrimination kind of show by Dan Snyder. It was claimed by over 40 women. When I kind of read this story and recapping, one of the main allegations was a woman who said that Dan Snyder took her on his private jet to the 2009 Country Music Television Awards on his private jet. And the claim was never substantiated, but he paid her $1.6 million anyway, just to avoid the publicity. I don't have bank like that, so I don't know what that's like, but he just paid her $1.6 million just to be, it's all right. Just don't tell nobody else,
Dang. Creep with money. Oh my goodness.
I mean,
Eric,
but he lost his team. So sorry. Go ahead, Avery.
No, you good. You good. What you got, Eric?
No, you're good. I'm gonna go with a little bit more recent, even though it's of an older player.
But he made $7 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. But I would say Brett Favre with this whole welfare scandal. I mean, we've known and touted him as one of the greats of all time. Had a great career. He had a tumultuous career. If you watch and remember, there was painkiller addiction, questions of alcoholism, things like that throughout his career. But most recently, that welfare one was the kind of kicker that kind of put a little damper on his legendary career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was crazy because it's like, man, you made a lot of money. You did a whole bunch of Levi's commercials or Wrangler, I think it was one of them. Dad bod jean. I'd be lying if I say I ain't have a pair, but
bought those at Kmart. Come on now.
Yeah, man. Shout out to
right next to the DoorDash.
But yeah, it definitely sucks to see that, man. GZ, man, what you got for number 4, man?
GG.
So my number 4, I'm going to go with a recent one also, the Henry Ruggs DUI, going 150 miles an hour and kills a girl and her dog. Yeah. He was just coming into his zone as a receiver, doing pretty well, and then this happened. So pretty rough.
That was his second year, and me and MGZ are both Raiders fans, so this one probably hits a little bit closer to home. But yeah, he was just figuring it out as a receiver in his second year, starting to show up on a game-by-game basis, and yeah, thought it'd be a good idea to do a $150 and like a 40.
Hey, Chris, you remember we were at your bachelor party, watching the Raiders beat the Steelers.
Yeah, and that was in Vegas. Yeah, we were in Vegas for that. So
rough, man. Yeah, that happened. I was like, what? This can't be true. And like, man, he's gonna have to do that time, man. Like, it's really unfortunate because he never had anything on his record, man. It just goes to show you a lot of people who are in prison, the regular people who had a very bad 24 hours, very bad day. And that was a very bad day. He should have never left home, straight up. So my number 4 is this one's a little on the lighter side. Dez Bryant in the 2014 playoff catch. No, I'm not trying to pander to the Cowboys audience. I can't stand the Cowboys actually, but right is right and wrong is wrong. That was a catch. And I believe that there's powers that be. Like, there's wonderful referees, there's wonderful coaches who do everything by the book. there's also people out there who could be getting paid underneath the table. We've seen this in NBA, we've seen this in NHL, we've seen this in the college sports, right, in collegiate sports. But unfortunately, something happened behind the scenes where it was a really close game. And I don't know if the Italian mob, I mean, they're still around. You know, it's not like they just all died. They had kids and passed on their mob ways. I don't know who was a part of this, but that was a catch. And yeah, that would be a pretty dang big scandal to me. So
Z, talk to your people, man.
Well, look, that's not the first time that we saw that either. I mean, most recently, even after that with Jesse James in Pittsburgh against New England, I mean, the same thing happened.
Yeah.
And it's I think that you hit on a good point, Doug, because that is something that over the stretch of a course of a few years where they had to change the entire rule book, which then it changes the entire game as well. And if that stuff doesn't happen, those outcomes are different. And then we might be talking about a different NFL history at this point with just those two specific catches.
Yeah, I agree. And now it sucks that we have to use these sayings where it's like, well, don't let the game be so close or the referees have to decide it. That's true. And human error happens. But let it be like it's a close human error. Like, oh, well, did the ball pass the pylon by like that much or what? Let it be something like that. Don't let it be like something that's so blatant in our face, man. So yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. All right, moving on to number 3. Let me see, Mr. Jeezy, I'll let you kick this one off, man. Number 3 of your top 5 NFL scandals.
My number 3 is the Deflategate with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. The best part about this one was that when they asked Bill Belichick about it, he said, "I don't know. Ask my quarterback."
Yeah, that was a big one. I want to comment on that one because it's like, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real for a minute. If Ryan Tannehill did that, no one would care. If you know what I mean, what Jason Campbell was in the league at the time, Jason Campbell would have did it. Nobody would have cared. But because it's Tom Brady and his Spygate had happened some years before that, yeah, man. But yeah, that was interesting. And then you read the text messages. It was almost like he was almost texting them like a sex predator or something. But it wasn't. He was texting them like just, hey, he just wanted a competitive edge, right? So,
and that was wasn't that after the Indianapolis Colts game? Wasn't it a Colts playoff game with I think Andrew Luck was.
Yeah, there's against Andrew Luck. Yeah,
and the Patriots smoked him, man. Tom Brady could have been throwing hot potatoes out there, and it would have been the exact same. Yeah, it would have been the exact same result, whether them balls were fully inflated or deflated. So, just a ridiculous. I'm not a Patriots fan, nor will I be a Tom Brady apologist right now. I wish they would have lost everything, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. MC Ran, Eric Ran, man, what you got, dude?
Do any of y'all listen to Lizzo?
Unfortunately, my kids like her music.
Yeah. So you know the line, no player on the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh. I don't know if I'm eating dinner tonight, Eric. Okay, go ahead.
You got to know where that came from, man. Minnesota Vikings. They had themselves a little love boat scandal that went under wraps for a while. They flew some girls out from Atlanta.
Dante Culpepper. He's on the boat. Yeah.
Flew some girls out from Atlanta, and let's just say they had a really good time in front of unwelcome guest.
Dang.
Wait, so was Lizzo on this boat?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, I would hope. I don't need that. That's something that we just don't need.
It's a different show.
All I know is Ari Spears said that Lizzo looked like the poop emoji.
He's not wrong. The interview on DJ Vlad.
He's not wrong.
I'm not gonna laugh at that.
I'm laughing at that.
Maybe she used to be skinny.
Jay now.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Lizzo had a whale of a time. Let me Chris, who you got, man?
All right, I'm gonna throw Z a bone here. My number 3, I'm going with the Ben Roethlisberger sexual assault charges. It's another one of those charges that got forgotten about. I've spent a lot of both he and I are from the Pittsburgh area, maybe like 50 miles. Well, MGZ too, about 50 miles west of Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I've spent a lot of time in Pittsburgh clubs in my 20s. And if you've ever been at these clubs, there's maybe 6 to 7 in Pittsburgh that are worth your time. At some point, Ben Roethlisberger's been there, and you hear stories. You hear stories of offensive linemen blocking bathroom doors. And I'm just saying, this is one that got forgotten about.
I would disagree. I don't think it's forgotten
I
about.
knew you would, Z.
It's not forgotten about. I mean, this could honestly be one of the top 3 scandals in NFL history. I mean, these are serious allegations. Sexual assault allegations don't get forgotten. It's hung over his career. It's hung over his career, man. It's that's probably what he looked like when he was getting charged. And look, you can say whatever you want to about the guy in his career. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but let's not lose sight of the fact that he actually
that's arguable too, Z.
He's first ballot Hall of Famer. But let's not lose sight of the fact that these were serious allegations. And if true, I mean, yeah, it's not right. I don't even know how else
Absolutely.
to put it. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, it's despicable is what it is. Serious allegations. I don't think they've gone forgotten.
I'd argue they have. Nobody mentions these allegations of Ben Roethlisberger. Now, obviously, he's out of the league, so he's out of the limelight. You know what I mean?
Well, how often
for like the last 7 to 8 years of his career? Nobody was mentioned. Nobody was mentioning these charges.
Does anybody proactively bring up allegations or charges against everybody? And I mean, if that was the case, we would hear about it on every type of sports show.
Deshaun Watson, people are still mentioning that one.
Recency bias. It's been less than a year.
That is recency bias for sure.
And you heard that from Ben for recent. Quite a long time. Yeah, you heard it from Ben for quite a long time.
Okay, fair.
I mean, let's be real. I love Michael Vick, but as soon as that dude did his bid and came back to the league, he was hailed as the second coming of some quarterback. Everybody forgot about that. No one mentioned his dogfighting scandal.
That's true. You're right.
Thank you. I've been waiting to hear those words forever.
30 years, man. 30 years.
Glad this is live.
Oh yeah. No, man, the Ben Roethlisberger thing was crazy, man, because there's like different privileges, right? There's white privileges, black privileges, hot girl privilege, there's rich privilege. I'm gonna add a new one in there, good football player privilege. Meaning that, like, man, if you have a certain set of skills, they're very quick to forgive you. And don't get me wrong, look, man, as a Christian, we should forgive, but man, also should be cautious that when people have a certain platform and you continue these nasty, disgusting, erotic fantasies and behaviors, whether you like it or not, kids take and look up to you. And you don't deserve that platform if you're going to be out there tricking around and supposedly turn over a new leaf, and hopefully that is true. But yeah, that was disgusting and appalling, man. So men need to start being men and treating women like, with respect, and treat them with queens and protect ladies, whether they act ladylike or not. Real men stand up,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Chris, did you have one, man?
I just gave that one.
Oh, okay. My bad. Sorry. Making sure I hit everybody here. Sorry.
No, you good?
All right. Number 2. Okay. Trying to do a healthy mix, right? And in my top 5,
he smacked Zach in the face with it.
Man, my number 2 is it's a little different. The Washington football team changed their name. But throw that on there. Reason I throw that as a scandal is because now I'm not a Commanders fan, right? But I'm one of those people, I like to look at stuff I disagree with. And for me, I was very like, hey, let's get rid of that name. And still kind of am to an extent, because like the term Redskins, like, damn, that's kind of nasty. But supposedly over 90% of Native Americans, there was a poll that went out and they are super in favor of the name and offended that it was changed. So that would be one that I would take and throw out there. I'd like to open up the floor, though. What do you guys take and think about that?
It's a sensitive subject.
Yeah.
Sure. I guess it just depends on. I mean, it's a tough line to toe, because the name does have racist. It's a racist name. Let's be real. It is a racist name. But if the population that the name is racist to is in favor of it, is it okay to have it? I don't know. I mean, I think that that's something that a lot of us really can't speak on. I know I can't speak on it.
Same here. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like a gray area. It's like
I like the name
okay,
that
all right.
Zach gave them, the footballers.
The footballers. There you go. That's what we call them. The footballers. The Washington footballers.
I don't know that there's a right answer here. You know, it just kind of is. The situation is. You know, if they're okay with it, cool. You know, being the Indian populace, if they're okay with it, okay, cool. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's right either. So I don't think there's a right answer here.
I think the loophole that we do have was there's a finalist name of the Red Wolves, which had come up, and that would have been a fair middle ground for both parties, simply because I think, you know, with the worship of the wolf in the culture, in most Indian cultures anyway, that would have been a fair representation, Red Wolves specifically, without the NFL, you know, stepping on any toes or offending anyone.
I got another one here. Anybody ever here watch the TV show Community? Pretty good show. Very similar to The Office. Well, just kind of paint a picture. They had an episode, right, where they couldn't agree on a mascot for this community college, right? And no one could agree. They're like, oh, that's offensive, that's racist. And they came up with the name, and I think I found the solution. The logo for the school is called the Human Beings. That was the name. It was the Human Beings, and it looks like an alien. I just got done watching Fire in the Sky, by the way.
Looked like something that would call the basement of paranormal activity.
Right?
Yeah, man. So Washington Commanders fans / whatever your name is going to be the Washington Human Beings. There we go. Everybody wins.
Doug, you watched Fire in the Sky, the movie from the 1990s, the alien abduction movie?
I watched it for the first time this
Look,
afternoon.
man, I watched that when I was a kid. That thing messed me up for years.
Dude, seriously,
I was
man.
terrified. I was terrified to go to sleep. I would pray every night. I literally remember saying this prayer every night. Lord, please don't let aliens abduct me. It's burned in my mind for my entire life. I used to say that prayer.
I mean, 30 years later, 40, we 40 now, and I'd still say you messed up.
I mean, look, I'm not saying I'm not messed up. Glory to God, He has rescued me. I know aliens aren't going to abduct me anymore, but that messed me up as a kid.
Yeah. And my wife warned me. Shout out to
you can still be abducted, Zach.
I was about to say they confirmed UFOs.
Nah, man, it was just demons. It was just demons running around. That's all it is. Jesus Christ has got my back. I'm saved, man. Jesus is king.
Amen, brother. Amen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, that's my number 2. Go ahead, Eric Rand, man. What you got for number 2, sir?
For number 2, take you back to September of 2014. Minnesota Vikings with the Hall of Fame running back Adrian Peterson was suspended the final 6 games. I believe it was without pay for disciplining his son.
Ooh. Damn. That's it. That's a bar. Yeah, that was crazy because a lot of people like from the outside looking in like, what? Ain't nothing wrong with that. But then, you know, again, there was a lot of debates, and it's weird, like the how you raise your kids conversation came into the football world, and you had I remember seeing Facebook groups at the time, and again, I have like my conservative aunts and my super liberal college friends, and it was an interesting mesh because you have literally the biggest football player on the planet, one of them, at least top 5 at that time, right? Yep. And you know, he took off a branch, and his son got to work, you know, kind of thing. But it's not how I discipline my kids, but yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, I know everybody has different opinions.
Your grandma never had you go get the switch as badass as you were,
bro. I'm from the country, so
I got beat with a wooden spoon, switch, pool stick.
That scars to this day, huh, Chris?
Yeah, man. I'm from the country, so yeah, I always had to go outside and get a switch.
I feel it. I
I had to break Chris. I had to break Chris out the house.
You did too. There's a lot of stories there, but we will save that for another time.
Love it, man. GZ, man, what you got for your number 2, dude?
My number 2 was already mentioned. It's the Bounty Gate. When you're basically paying players to hurt others, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was a crazy time, man. Because if you would have asked 16-year-old Doug, because Bounty, what year was Bounty Gate? Was that 2014, 2012?
I thought it was
I think it would.
2012.
I think it was earlier. Yeah, I think it was. Wasn't it when Brett Favre was playing for the Vikings? Isn't that when?
Yeah, it was like 2013 around that time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But regardless of the time, I
2000,
remember
he was suspended for 2012.
Okay.
Who was Sean Payton?
Yeah. So the actual fund started in the 2009 season, and it kind of got found out in the 2011, 2012 playoffs.
Yeah, Sean Payton.
Dang, that's nuts, man. Yeah, no, it's when that happens, super
They
immature. Doug, I'm like,
Brett
a
Favre
year
in
is
that
so
playoff game.
long. But now that I'm older and I'm a lot more mature. I'm not, in my early 20s.
Allegedly.
I look back and I'm like, man, you don't want to see people, go out like that. But crazy times in the NFL. Always talking points. Always. Chris, what you got, man? Number 2.
I'm going to bring the Washington Redskins footballers, Commanders, Washington football team back into this. The John Gruden emails that he sent Dan Snyder.
Ooh.
Homophobic, misogynistic, whatever other adjective you would like to use. Pretty disgusting stuff. I think there's more to this story than what was let out. My personal opinion is somebody leaked it because the Raiders won out of his 10-year, $100 million contracts. But here's what I'm saying. Only John Gruden's emails got released. Only his. You don't know who replied. You don't know who saw them. Because if I send you an email, Doug, you're going to reply to it. And how you reply to it might insinuate that you agree or disagree, Yeah. So I think there's a lot more to this story that never got said. But yeah, I think there's a lot more.
Yeah, I agree. And what's crazy, I'd take it back to, even though they are no way, shape, or form connected, Epstein, right? Yeah, he's the one who got caught. But what about all the other people, right? When it comes to these emails, and like Gruden is trying to burn the house down right now. Obviously, let me first off state, I hate what came out of Gruden's mouth. I don't agree. But also my whole thing is like, well, who else is part of this? Who leaked the stuff out? Is the NFL, like, I don't think it's just Gruden to blame. There's other people as well too, right? So it's gonna be real interesting these next couple months, and content on the way on both of our channels, I could imagine about that. Awesome. All right, cool, man. All right, so those are our number 2s. Eric, did I get you yet, or for number 2? Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here. And again, this is our top 5 NFL scandals. This is all opinionated, folks. Some of the stuff is really bad. Some of the stuff is kind of cheesy. Some of the stuff has Lizzo in it. All right, so but we're gonna wrap it up here with number 1. I'll go ahead and I'll kick this one off first. Aaron Hernandez, and I might have took a bunch of people's stuff. Aaron Hernandez killed 3 people, was doing all kinds of stuff out here, living just a whole different lifestyle, kind of thing. So which is crazy because you asked Tim Tebow and some of these other people who were great friends with him, man. Like, he was a great guy, but sometimes people are very different off the field. Definitely had CTE, not to excuse what he did. But yeah, man, and then now his his child and baby's mother has to suffer for it. But so really crazy. Let me see here. Eric Rand, man, what you got for that one? Number 1.
So I'm gonna take you back to 2013 and Miami Dolphins. They actually had to suspend Richie Incognito for the bullying of a fellow lineman. That was Jonathan Martin, who just randomly during the season decided to leave the team. NFL did a little investigation, found out that there was some bullying. Some people would call it hazing towards Martin. Incognito nor Martin played for the Dolphins ever again. But Martin had ended up retiring after playing 15 games for San Francisco. And then I think Incognito ended up going to Buffalo in 2014 or 15. Yeah, I remember that as a Fins fan.
Yeah, I definitely remember that, and it was kind of disheartening because a lot of people were like, "Oh man, Jonathan Martin is soft. He's soft. He should." Like, man, he was saying some pretty wild stuff to him, man. And every man out there who's a man, has every right to respond how you'd like to, kind of thing. So, yeah, Incognito was talking crazy. But in those locker rooms, I remember hearing Adrian Peterson do an interview, and they were asking him about the situation. It's like, and sometimes stuff that's said in the locker rooms is way worse, and the media will never know about it, right? So it's that was a real disheartening, and it sucks to take and see that for sure. Chris, what you got, man?
My number one, for me, it has to be the Michael Vick in the dog abuse and gambling, dog fighting. It is by no means, the most despicable on this list. We've talked about some other things in this list of top 5 that I think is arguably worse. But Michael Vick at that time was a superstar of the NFL. I mean, he was as big as you can get. He was one of the few players that dual threat quarterback when dual threat quarterbacks didn't really succeed in the NFL at that time. And yeah, I mean, it completely derailed his career. Obviously he's kind of turned face and he's back commentating and all that, but this was a pretty tough hit for Michael Vick at that time.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I'm happy he's doing well, man. We have not heard anything from him. It's crazy because I remember when he came out of prison, he was even, I think it was the IRS like several $1 million. It was just all kinds of stuff. He literally lost it all and then gained some back towards the end of his career. And I'm happy he's doing well, and that he's an example of what not to do. And he's very open about that. And I think his vulnerability, when you see him on Club Shay Shay, it's Shannon Sharp's podcast, right? And you see him speaking about these things. It's a cautionary tale to other NFL players, or even if you're not a football player, like, man, don't do animals like that. You know what I mean? Like, they're obviously they're not humans, but man, like, they are very much part of our day-to-day lives. I have my beloved pain in the ass Chihuahua. Love my Chihuahua to death, and I'm sure many of you guys have pets too and stuff, but definitely happy for him that he's doing a lot better, and a great example of, like, man, like, he gave his life to God, great family man. He's doing really well, man. So yeah, I'm happy for Vic, man, that he's doing well. But yeah, at the time, that was crazy. That was like that was one of the biggest scandals of that decade for sure. All right, let's go here. Let's see here. Eric Wren, what you got, man? Top 5 scandals, your number 1 scandal on your list.
You already had mine. I believe M. Jeezy has his number 1.
Okay, gotcha. M. Jeezy, what you got, man?
Chris gave my number 1. It was the Gruden Gate.
Gruden Gate. Okay.
Chris gave the Gruden Gate. That's what I was going to go. 650,000 emails, and he's the only one to get in trouble.
Yeah. No, it's scandalous, man. Hey, these next couple months gonna be real fun for Goodell. If there's anything that could take Goodell down, it's probably this. So we're gonna hear a lot of stuff. So it's gonna be fun, of course. Cool, man. All right, man. So guys, though, that is our top 5 NFL scandals of our list.
Doug.
Zach, did you have one?
Yeah, are we just going to lose sight of the fact that the New England Patriots are giant cheaters and recorded everybody in Spygate? Are we losing fact? I mean, they cost the Steelers at least 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, just nobody cares about the Steelers but you.
When was the last time the Raiders won anything? Don't worry, I'll wait.
I plead the
They didn't win today. They didn't win last
1, 2, 3, 4.
Spygate needs to be mentioned.
Hey, you could have come up with the top. You ain't feel like it.
It's a good thing.
I don't want to hear.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
What I got to deal with that 403 Washington, man. This is what I got to deal with.
I'm just gonna cut your audio out when I get the audio file. It don't matter.
Love to see it, man. Love to see it. No, man. Look, Belichick. Look, man. We got to treat him like Barry Bonds the day he goes to Hall of Fame, and he is a Hall of Fame coach. I give him that. But there needs to be an asterisk over the wins, because eventually he's going to beat Don Shula, who's the most winning coach in NFL history. That record will be broken in the near future by Bill Belichick. But it has to, like, dude, you cheated and you got caught and you were doing it for a minute. You know what I mean? Like, and you talk to Patriot fans, they're like, when people defend O.J. Simpson, man, like they oh man, well, see, every team's doing. No, they have this victim mentality. It's disgusting. So, but yeah, I think the Steelers probably would have won another Super Bowl in there, or another football team for that matter.
All right, let me ask you something about Belichick real quick, and this has just been on my mind this past week.
Yeah.
So, and this is open for discussion if we have time. So you got Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest coach of all time, okay, with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Belichick's success has kind of dropped off since Brady left.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you have Sean Payton.
Okay.
Great coach with the New Orleans Saints. Had Drew Brees. Comes back to coach. Granted, it's week 4. He just got his first win. But his success is not what it was when he left. Is this a story of more that the victories are a product of the quarterback and the coach gets the success, especially when you have these high caliber quarterbacks on the team? Or is it that these coaches just can't find a way to relate to their new teams?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's definitely a cultural thing, right? Because you see people, they love the sensitivity of Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. Oh, he likes hip hop, and that's all great and well. But sometimes you need that old school coach to put a foot in your ass, right? That's Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is not a relatable dude. He's a guy, he'll tell you what to do, and he's a genius at what he does. I'll give him that. I would say the success, if I'm answering your question correctly, I would say success is more because of Tom Brady than is Bill Belichick. But Bill Belichick had a part in it because he still is the head coach, right? He's, coach and owner and all these different things, right? He's, he's not the owner, but you get what I'm saying. He has his hands so
essentially
deep.
the GM.
Yeah, exactly, GM. But when it comes to defensive side of the ball, great, right? But then we've seen him hire people who absolutely suck, and they go to another team and they stink. They become a coach and they stink. So the systems he's put in place, I would say it's 80. The Super Bowls, I'll put it like this: 80% Brady, 20% Belichick. That's what I got.
Okay. What about Sean Payton? You think his success as a coach of New Orleans was based more on Drew Brees being his quarterback, based on what we've seen over the past 4 weeks?
Man, so I need a little more time to take and observe that for sure. Drew Brees, I would say that one was probably 70% Drew Brees and his arm. I mean, he broke a lot of Dan Marino's records and stuff like that.
Drew Brees is one of the most accurate quarterbacks the game has seen
ever. Yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly. So, but then Sean Payton knows how to, despite his little scandal where he got suspended for a year. Great defensive coach, knows how to pick up talent, knows how to hire. So, I got to see the Broncos underneath an umbrella for probably like another year or two, before I guess. But as far as what he did in his past, I would say 70% Brees, 30% Sean Payton.
Word.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Awesome, man. Well, guys, we got the results to our trivia. Chris, man, break bread with us, man. Who won this?
All right.
It wasn't me.
So at number 4, we got my man A. Averick. 5,363 points, 47% answered correctly. Number 3, we got Touchdown Doug. 6,252 points, 47% answered correctly.
Awesome.
Number 2, MGZ. 7,787, 67% answered correctly. And unfortunately, my co-host, which means I cannot get rid of him yet, 8,587 points with 67% answered correctly. I was really hoping Z lost.
Champ is here. Champ is here.
Did your thing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
He cheated. He had the fastest internet.
Tell Chris Muntz, I think Z is very ugly.
Love to see it, man. Man, that was a lot of fun, man. That one's haunting me in my head about, I was like, I think I chose Doug Flutie over Brett Favre. I'm like, might have came in second place had I got that one. I was in first for a minute, and then I was like, I just stunk it up the last 5 questions. I'm like, man, those are good questions. Those are really good.
Yeah, it was strictly off of the ESPN Trivia Night game. I've had it sit in my house for literally 2 years, and yourself, Doug, and Eric were over the house, and we talked about it, and that's how this whole thing formulated and came to be. So all cards off that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
How much time we got left? 5 minutes.
We got 5 minutes.
All right, real quick. Winners and losers of today.
The best was the zombie picture.
About Davis.
The Broncos.
Winners and losers of today, Broncos probably. I would have to say they're probably the biggest win of the day. I know all of your teams kind of sucked it up. My team barely skated.
They won,
by.
but they lost.
Are the Broncos a bigger winner or are the Bears a bigger loser?
I'd say the Bears are a bigger loser, to be honest. But also, I mean, the Broncos, had they have lost, they were down 28-0. Had they have lost, I mean, MGZ, you and I were talking about this. That hot seat might get a little hotter under Sean Payton.
Yeah.
It might, but I think the Bears saw a couple of things that looked promising because they broke out in that game. Strategy is what got them in trouble. It was like, oh, we're winning. Well, what do we do now? And that came and shot them in the foot because obviously Sean Payton is not going to be a quitter. He's not going to just lay down and let you win.
I would like to bring up the Dolphins, though. I'm sorry, Touchdown Doug, but I mean, the Dolphins been on a run this whole year. They've been killing it. They came up against the Bills, who've looked okay this year. And the Bills put it on them. I texted MGZ earlier and said the Bills are trying to hang up 70 on the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was one of those things. I think our heads got too big. And Mike McDaniel's not the type of coach to, like, he kind of rides waves a lot. And he's a good coach. He's a very good coach, very talented, gifted coach. But man, you fumbled, was it 3 times we fumbled today? And then they scored on all 3 of those. And then there was, man, they were putting on us, man. It's like our defense didn't exist. You know what I mean? Yeah, we had some injuries, but not enough for them to hang 48 on us, man. So yeah, Dolphins defense is a joke right now. We have great players, but Vic Fangio, he almost did this in week 1. You know what I mean? Where literally Chargers ran up and down the field on us. Like, dude, you have kept the same, like, this ain't Madden. You just go on the dime package and you keep 3 linebackers. And then
they was playing Madden on rookie last week. Now they're on veteran now.
Exactly. So, but Devon A-Chain did fantastic. Rookie running back out of Texas A&M. He did really great. There's some positives in the game. But yeah, and then of course Tua threw an interception. So those
biggest positive in that game.
It was just very ugly.
Biggest positive in that game is that Tua came out healthy.
Yeah, and he knows how to ball. So problem fixed.
I would like to say that CJ Stroud got the Steelers.
I was getting ready to bring that up, and I was going to say I ain't trying to be a troll, but I'm gonna be a troll. But CJ Stroud put it on the Steelers. Hey, MGZ, Eric, can you remind me where he from though?
The Ohio State.
He did it. He did it, man. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats right now, man. Man, he did his thing, man. Over 300 yards. Did very good. Spread the ball to 7 different receivers. Running game was on point today. Yeah, man. He did the damn thing today for sure. But cool, man. But yo, that's the show here today, folks. I want to give a very special shout out, man, to 403 Washington, the podcast. If you guys watching this live or if you guys are watching this pre-recorded, go down below in the description. I have the link to their social media, and specifically to Spotify on there as well. So you guys be sure to go ahead and give them a follow, man. Chris, Z, appreciate you guys for coming on the show today, man.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, man. GZ, Eric Wren, always good, man. Thank you guys for coming on. Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and hit you guys with the dopest outro video on the earth. Comment below, let us know how this episode made you feel. Did you guys have fun? I know we all had a lot of fun today, so appreciate you guys. Here's the outro, and we'll catch y'all next week. Peace.
Touchdown with Doug Smith, celebrate, that's a new move. Heisman, 2 views, catch him on YouTube. NFL coverage, interviews. Who lose, who win, who lose? Comedy, you choose. It's not about moolah. The QB's like Tua is missing in action. No L's on my shooter. Play it like Marino, it's a gamble like casino. Hungry for it, but you know we still gon' try to feed the beast. Rivalries will lead the conference. Cowboys of the Eagles. Will Belichick be a threat? Better check. Tomlin on deck. Much respect to the vet. What you expect? Gotta tune in for the rest. Make sure to sub, like, check. At the best, Bad Boy, the sports podcast. For the threat across the north, east, south, and the west. Sitting back clueless, time to tune in. Now the